Ndewo, Nnọọ, and welcome back to Igbo Daily Drops Week 2 Omnibus. If your week was a bit of a hustle and you missed our daily drops, don't worry, I've bundled all 5 complete episodes right here so you can catch up and practice in one go. Every minute you spend here is a massive win for our mission to raise 10,000 next generation Igbo speakers. So, let's get into this week's daily drops. The first Igbo word Obi learnt was Nne, Mama. She learnt it by accident because her grandmother said it every time Obi walked into the room. Before hello, before sitting down, just Nne. Today we learn the sentence that comes after you know you are loved, the one that lets you say what you hold. Ndewo, Nnọọ. Welcome to Igbo Daily Drops. I am Yvonne Mbanefo. Today, possession, the Igbo way of saying I have, and a proverb that will change what you think having means. Ka anyị bido. Let us begin. The proverb for today is Onye nwere mmadụ ka onye nwere ego. Onye nwere mmadụ ka onye nwere ego. A person who has people is greater than one who has only money. Notice the word at the heart of that proverb. Nwere, to have, to hold. In Igbo, what you have is not measured in things alone. It is measured in who, the people you carry, the language that carries you back to them. Today you learn to say I have, and by the end you will hear that proverb differently. So by the end of today, you will be able to say I have money in Igbo. I have shoes in Igbo. I have clothes in Igbo. 3 sentences, each one a door. Obiageli is 9 years old. Everyone calls her Obi. Born in Leicester, never been to Nigeria. But she knows what Sunday smells like because Sunday smells the same everywhere in the Igbo Diaspora. Her grandmother, Mama Ngozi, 71, still speaks English only when she absolutely must. Is visiting from Birmingham for the week. They are sitting together on the couch. The kind of sitting that doesn't need to do anything. Mama Ngozi picks up Obi's trainer from the floor. White Nike, size 3. She holds it up, looks at Obi. Nkegi, is it yours? Obi knows what she means. She doesn't know how to answer in Igbo. She looks at the shoe, looks at her grandmother, then reaches for something she half knows. Nkem, that one she caught somewhere, like catching rain. Her grandmother smiles, puts the shoe down, then says just as slowly, Enwere m akpa ụkwụ. Enwere m akpa ụkwụ. I have shoes. Obi says it back, badly, then less badly. Her grandmother nods, not with praise. That sitting room, that city, that white trainer, is the front line of something that matters far beyond Leicester. In 2017, researchers publishing in Organise, a new journal of African studies, a peer-reviewed journal, dedicated to African language scholarship, documented exactly what is happening between Obi and Mama Ngozi, her grandmother. The study on safeguarding Igbo through teaching children in the diaspora found this. Igbo is one of a small number of languages UNESCO has flagged as endangered within a generation. And the single most powerful force capable of reversing that is not schools, not apps. It is what happens in the home. Informal, daily, ordinary language between a person who knows it and a child who is just beginning. Now, sometimes some Igbo people say, oh, UNESCO is lying, is not endangered. But it's measured, endangered languages are measured by the number of new speakers that come on board, not the number of speakers, existing speakers. So if they feel that the number of new speakers coming on board is low, then they start saying that language is endangered. So a grandmother, a trainer, a sentence, that is what language survival looks like. Many of us, of course, have been waiting until our Igbo is good enough to use it. That grandmother did not get the memo. So 3 sentences we're learning today. Say each one after me. Number 1. Nwere ego. Nwere ego. I have money. Enwere I have ego, money. Enwere ego. Enwere ego. Before the naira, before the pound, ego in Igbo meant cowrie shells, the currency of the Niger Delta traded across centuries. Tiny, white, specific. You could hold them in your palm and know exactly what you had. The word still carries that weight. Enwere ego. I have money. Number 2. Enwere akpụ ụkwụ. Enwere akpụ ụkwụ. I have shoes. Repeat after me. Enwere akpụ ụkwụ. Enwere akpụ ụkwụ. Akpụ ụkwụ, shoes. In Igbo custom, you remove your akpụ ụkwụ before an elder or before a sacred space, before a room that is asking for your full presence. To have shoes is to have the choice of when to wear them. That is its own kind of authority. Enwere akpụ ụkwụ. Number 3. Enwere uwe. Enwere uwe. I have clothes. Enwere uwe. Enwere uwe. Uwe means clothing. You can also hear aqua. Aqua is fabric or clothes. Enwere ego. I have money. Enwere akpụ ụkwụ. I have shoes. Enwere uwe. I have clothes. And now you hear it. Onye nwere mmadụ ka onye nwere ego. The person who has people is better than or is higher than the person who has money. You have the word, you have the people. So food for thought. The researchers in that 2017 study made one observation that stayed with me. The diaspora parents least likely to speak Igbo with their children were not the ones who didn't care. They were the ones who felt their Igbo wasn't good enough yet. Words didn't come. Sentences ended in English. And so they waited. When my Igbo is better, I will teach them. The children grew up. Your Igbo doesn't need to be perfect to be used. It needs to be present. Download this week's free workbook at learnigbonow.com and practice today's sentences. Every sentence you learn is a drop, and every drop feeds Oke Osimiri Mmụta Igbo, the ocean of Igbo knowledge. Abụ m nwanne gị nwanyị, Yvonne Mbanefo. I am your sister, Yvonne Mbanefo. Keep learning, keep speaking. Progress beats perfection. There is a sentence in Igbo that every parent knows without knowing it. Every time they unpack a suitcase from Nigeria, every time they lay a fresh wrapper on the bed before a naming ceremony or a wedding, the sentence is not about the cloth. It is about everything the cloth carries. Today, you're going to say it. Ndewo, Nnọọ. Welcome to Igbo Daily Drops. I'm Yvonne Mbanefo. Today we are learning 3 sentences about ownership. What you have, what you hold, what your home contains. And we are learning them through one of the most quietly powerful forces in Igbo life. What a person wears. Ka anyị bido? Let us start together. Today's proverb is this. Onye mara ezi akwa, ọ malụ eziokwu. Onye mara ezi akwa, ọ malụ eziokwu. The person who wears genuine cloth knows the truth. In Igbo life, fine dressing is not vanity, it is testimony. The woman who arrives in Akwete fabric and coral beads is not showing off. She is showing up. Her cloth says, I am serious. I am cared for. I have something to say. Listen. So the first time I heard this proverb, Onye mara ezi akwa, ọ malụ eziokwu, I actually heard it from my mother-in-law for the first time, and I was wondering what it meant. And she then explained to me that if you're well-dressed, people will take you seriously. And if you're well-dressed and you step out, everyone will take what you say as the truth. So by the end of today, you will be able to say, Nwere m akwa, I have clothes. O nwere efere, she or he has a plate. Anyị nwere ụlọ, we have a house. 3 sentences, 1 verb, everything that makes a home. Harborne, Birmingham. A front room on a Saturday morning. Nwandu is 41 years old. Born in Enugu. She arrived in Birmingham at 22 with 1 suitcase and a nursing qualification. And within 6 months, she had a second job, a savings account, and a plan written in a spiral notebook that she still has. She has just come in from the post office. On the sofa, she sets down a large padded parcel, the kind you recognize immediately if you grew up in the diaspora. Brown, dense, sent by air from her sister in Abagana. Chisom, 14, born in Selly Oak, currently in the middle of a Saturday that she would very much like to spend doing nothing. Looks up from her phone. What's that? Nwandu does not answer straight away. She opens the parcel slowly, the way her mother used to open parcels, with ceremony. Inside, 2 wrappers, one in deep wine George fabric, the other in Akwete, hand-woven, cream and indigo, folded with a precision that takes years to master. A note from her sister. For Chisom's first outing as a young woman. Nwando holds the Akwete wrapper up and something moves across her face. Not quite grief and not quite joy. A particular feeling of being held by something older than yourself. Mom, Chisom says, softer now. She has put her phone down. What does aqua mean? Nwando looks at her daughter. 14 years old, Sally Oak born, Igbo adjacent, as Chisom herself once described it. Igbo adjacent. Nwando had laughed, then gone very quiet. Aqua means cloth, Nwando says. She sets the wrapper carefully across her daughter's shoulders. Akwete is heavier than anything Chisom has worn before. A weight that is not burden, but gravity. Presence. The indigo threads catch the light. Chisom does not pull away. Nwere m akwa, Nwando says quietly. I have cloth. Say it. Chisom says it. Not perfectly, but she says it. That moment in Nwando's front room, a cloth transferred between hands, a sentence offered across a generation, has a name in the scholarship. In her 2024 paper, Mma Nwaanyi bụ Ekike, Symbolism, Significance of Textiles and Fashion Accessories in Igbo Women's Contemporary Dress Culture, published in the Ohazurume Journal at Nnamdi Azikiwe University. Dr. Chika C. Chudiduru documents something that Nwando already knows in her body. Igbo dress is not decoration, it is communication. Chudiduru traces how fabrics like Akwete and George carry meaning that precedes colonialism. How beads worn at the wrist signal marital status. How a double wrapper tied by a married woman declares maturity, responsibility, and care. She also documents what happened in the 19th century when colonial contacts arrived and decided that Igbo women's dress was improper. The symbolic meanings woven into Akwete patterns, protection, identity, status, spiritual belonging, did not disappear, but they went quiet. 3 generations later, a woman in Birmingham is standing in her front room on a Saturday morning, trying to reverse that. One wrapper, one sentence, one daughter. Which means that when Nwando says, Nwere m akwa, I have cloth, she is not just naming a possession, she is naming a position. So, let us put this into words. 3 sentences, 1 verb, everything that makes a home yours. Number 1, Enwere m akwa. Enwere m akwa. I have clothes. Repeat it. Enwere m akwa. Enwere m akwa. Number 2, O nwere efere. She has a plate, or he has a plate. Repeat after me. O nwere efere. O nwere efere. O nwere efere. Number 3, anyị nwere ụlọ. We have a house. Repeat after me. Anyị nwere ụlọ. Anyị nwere ụlọ. Ka akwa gị bụrụ ihe ọma, ka ụlọ gị bụrụ udo. May your cloth be a good thing, and may your home be peace. Don't forget to download your free practice workbook at learnigbonow.com. Every sentence you learn is a drop and every drop feeds okosimiri mmụta Igbo, the ocean of Igbo knowledge. This has been your Igbo Daily Drop. Abụ m nwanne gị nwaanyị, Yvonne Mbanefo. I am your sister, Yvonne Mbanefo. Keep learning, keep speaking, and remember, progress always beats perfection. There is a document that can end the conversation in 2 seconds. Not because of what it says, because of what it proves. Arinze, 31 years old, software engineer, born in Atlanta, Georgia, knows exactly which pocket he lives in. Tonight, with federal lights sweeping his street, that pocket is everything. Ndewo. Nnọọ. Welcome to Igbo Daily Drops. I'm Yvonne Mbanefo. Today we are doing something that matters on paper and in the body. Claiming the things you own, the tools you use, and the life you have built in Igbo. Ka anyị bido. Let us start together. Today's proverb is Onye aghala nwanne ya. Onye aghala nwanne ya. Do not abandon your sibling, your brother, your sister, or your kin. Onye aghala nwanne ya. Onye aghala nwanne ya. 4 words. The whole of Igbo communal philosophy in 4 words. This is not a sentiment. It is instruction. It is what Chukwuebuka did at 11:47 p.m. when he sent the alert. It is what the group chat did when it held the perimeter. It is what every person who has ever watched a neighbor's back in the dark already knows in their body. Tonight, it is also what the language is asking of you. Do not abandon what was given to you. Claim it in Igbo. By the end of this drop, you'll be able to say that you have a motor, you have a car. Motor, that's what we call a car in Nigeria. That you have internet, that you have a passport. 3 sentences, 3 claims on modern life, said the Igbo way. It is 11:47 p.m. Arinze Okonkwo, 31 years old, first generation American, son of Chinwe and Emeka of Nnewi, is standing at his kitchen window. His hands are around a mug his mother sent from Houston. It stopped being warm an hour ago. Outside, the street he has lived on for 4 years looks different tonight. Vehicles he does not recognize, lights that do not belong, strange men walking around. His phone buzzes. His cousin Chukwuebuka, 3 blocks over. Stay inside. Skip citizens. Arinze sets the mug down. Exhales. He is not undocumented. He was born here. He has paid taxes here, coached youth football here, filed every form correctly and on time. And yet, the fear is a real thing, sitting in his chest, cold and specific. He reaches into his jacket pocket. The blue document is there, has always been there. He thinks of Brian at lunch, his work colleague, who has been laughing at the same meme 5 minutes earlier. The way his voice dropped when he said it. Are you legal or just passing through? Arinze had answered quietly, with one sentence his grandmother said every time she met a smiling stranger. Ochi abụghị ụtọ. Ochi abụghị ụtọ. Laughter is not warmth. He had not needed to say anything else. Outside, the vehicles move on. Arinze's hand is still in his pocket. Passport, car keys, charger, because the group chat keeping his community safe tonight runs on internet. He has all three. In Igbo, he's about to learn how to say so. So our Scholars Park for today is about a scholar who has spent decades thinking about exactly this moment. In her 2023 paper, Oba Akpa Opu, Integrating Endangered Igbo into Diaspora Identity, published in the Journal of the Linguistic Society of Nigeria, Adaeze Uchebue documents what she calls linguistic anchoring, the way heritage speakers in high-pressure environments reach for their ancestral language, not as decoration, but as grounding. She argues that for diaspora Nigerians navigating bureaucratic, social, or legal pressure, naming your possessions and your rights in Igbo is not nostalgia. It is assertion. The language claims you back precisely when someone else is questioning your right to be present. Nwere, I have. 2 words, ancient structure, modern power. So the 3 sentences we're learning today are, number 1, Nwere moto. Nwere moto, I have a car. The Igbo word for car is ụgbọala, but most people say moto, from motor car. So I'm using moto because that's what people use on the street. Enwere moto, I have a car. Repeat after me. Enwere moto. Enwere moto. Enwere moto. Enwere moto. Number 2, enwere internet. I have internet, or I have access to the internet. Repeat after me. Enwere internet. Enwere internet. And now the one that completes the whole picture. Enwere passport. Repeat after me. Enwere passport. Enwere passport. Food for thought. Here is what I want you to hold. Chukwuebuka did not have to send that message to Arinze in the middle of the night. He could have stayed inside, watched his own door, kept his head down. Nobody would have blamed him. He sent it anyway, 3 blocks over. Midnight. Stay inside. Skip citizens. That is Onyagala Nwanne. Not as a proverb recited at the gathering, but as a man typing on a phone in the dark because his Nwanne was 3 blocks away and the lights were moving down the street. The Igbo do not separate what you say from what you do. The proverb is not decoration. It is a description of how people are supposed to behave. And when Arinze read that message, passport in his pocket, car keys in his hand, the group chat, holding the whole community inside the net of mutual watching, the proverb was already alive, already true, already done. Enwere moto, enwere internet, enwere passport. You have the tools, your Nwanne has your back. Do not abandon what was given to you. Say it in Igbo. Mean it in full. Ka amara, meghere guzo. May grace open the road before you. Download your free practice workbook at learnigbonow.com. Every sentence you learn is a drop, and every drop feeds Oke Osimiri Mmụta Igbo, the ocean of Igbo knowledge. This has been your Igbo Daily Drop. Abụ nwanne gị nwanyị Yvonne Mbanefo. I am your sister Yvonne Mbanefo. Keep learning, keep speaking, and remember, progress always beats perfection. There is an Igbo woman in Idaho. Not Houston, not Peckham, not Atlanta, Idaho. She moved there on purpose. Wide land, clean air, a ranch she could finally afford. And the first thing her family asked was not, "Will you be warm?" or "Where is the nearest hospital?" It was, "Do you have a dog?" Ndewo. Nnọọ. Welcome to Igbo Daily Drops. I'm Yvonne Mbanefo. Today, day 4 of week 2, we are talking about what you have, who you have, how to say it in Igbo, and why in Igbo culture what you possess and who possesses you are really two separate questions. Ka anyị bido. Let us start. Today's guiding proverb is Nkwụcha abụghị ụjọ. Nkwụcha abụghị ụjọ. Being alert doesn't mean one is afraid. Nkwụcha abụghị ụjọ. Vigilance is not paranoia. Preparation is not anxiety. In the Igbo worldview, the person who takes precautions is not the fearful one. They are the wise one. Today's sentences live in that space. The space between what you have and why having it matters. By the end of today, you'll be able to say 3 things in Igbo. That you have a dog, that you have children, and that together you have a large family. Each sentence is a stone. Together, they build something much harder to knock down. Philadelphia, late November. The Eze family convoy, 3 overloaded vans, has been driving for 2 days. Chiamaka Eze is 31 years old. A pediatric nurse, born in West Philly, raised between Igbo Sunday school and the SEPTA bus. She has spent 4 years saving for something nobody in her family understood: a ranch in rural Idaho. Remote, quiet, and, by Philadelphia standards, absurdly far from everything. Her father, Emeka, does not understand the choice, but he has driven 14 hours to help her move in. He steps out of the first van. The air smells of pine resin and diesel. 2 days of motorway still sitting in the engine. He looks at the land, flat and wide and pale under snow. Looks at the nearest neighbor, half a mile. Looks at the road, a single lane. Looks at his daughter. Then looks at the dog crate in the back of the second van. The dog is not a pet. It is a decision. A 90-pound Nigerian Burble dog named Obi, bred to patrol, not to cuddle. Though Chiamaka's youngest nephew has already named him Sweetie. Emeka opens the crate first. Obi steps onto Idaho soil, raises his nose to the wind, and begins walking the perimeter of the property as if he already knows the boundary. Emeka watches him, then, quietly, almost to himself, Nkwụcha abụghị ụjọ. Nkwụcha abụghị ụjọ. Being alert doesn't mean you're afraid. Inside, Chiamaka's brothers were already on the roof fitting the CCTV cameras. Her sister Ngozi is on the phone with the doorbell camera app, linking the live feed to the family WhatsApp group. Within 2 hours, 14 people in 4 states will be watching Chiamaka's front door in real time. Her father surveys all of this, the dog patrolling, the cameras going up, the children running in the snow, the sisters arguing about Wi-Fi passwords, and says the only thing that matters. Anyị nwere nnukwu ezinụlọ. Anyị nwere nnukwu ezinụlọ. We have a large family. He means it as a fact, but it lands like a fortress. Scholars spark. That image, each person moving to their task without being told, has a name in the scholarship. In their 2016 paper, Intra-Household Labor Allocation in Colonial Nigeria, published in Explorations in Economic History, economists Velor Athi and James Fengske studied daily time use records from Amankwu, an Igbo village in southeastern Nigeria, collected by the anthropologist Jack Harris in 1939 and 1940. What they found was this. In colonial-era Igbo households, the labor of one family member and the labor of another were deeply complementary. When one person's capacity was stretched, others adjusted around them. Spouses and parent-child pairs coordinated their tasks over and above what any seasonal pattern required. Brothers on the roof, sisters at the app, Emeka with the dog. Nobody called a meeting. Nobody assigned roles. The coordination happened because that is what the Igbo household, across centuries, had already learned to do. What you have and who moves when you need them to. In Igbo life, these have never been separate questions. And so the 3 sentences we'll learn today are, number 1, Nwere m nkịta. I have a dog. Repeat after me. Enwere m nkịta. Enwere m nkịta. Enwere m nkịta. Number 2. Enwere m ụmụ. Enwere m ụmụ. I have children. Repeat after me. Enwere m ụmụ. Enwere m ụmụ. One word shift, same structure. Ụmụ means children. It is the same root as ụmụnna, the extended community, children of the same origin. So when Chiamaka says enwere m ụmụ, she's not just counting heads. She is naming the people she is here to protect. Enwere m ụmụ. And the third sentence, the one that holds all of it. Number 3. Anyị nwere nnukwu ezinụlọ. Anyị nwere nnukwu ezinụlọ. We have a large family. Repeat after me. Anyị nwere nnukwu ezinụlọ. Anyị nwere nnukwu ezinụlọ. Anyị nwere nnukwu ezinụlọ. Ezinụlọ carries more than blood. It means the household, everyone under the same ala, the same roof, the same responsibility. Chiamaka's large family turned remoteness into something else entirely. A network, a web, a fortress. You can download this week's free practice workbook at learnigbonow.com. Ka Chineke gọzie ụlọ gị. May God bless your household. Every person in it. Every camera on it. Every dog patrolling it. Every phone watching over it from 4 states away. This has been your Igbo Daily Drop for today. Abum nwanne gị nwanyị, Yvonne Mbanefo. I am your sister, Yvonne Mbanefo. Keep learning, keep speaking, and remember, progress beats perfection. There is a man in this episode who stretches his soup. He is 53 years old, born in Achi, Oji River, Enugu State, living in Singapore, 21 years in a city that is loud and efficient and nowhere near Enugu State. He is the kind of man who can track a container ship across 4 time zones without blinking. And what he does to that pot of ofoha, quietly, without announcement, 8 minutes before his cousin sits down to eat, is the most Igbo thing he has ever done. Ndewo. Nnọọ. I'm Yvonne Mbanefo. Welcome to Igbo Daily Drops. Week 2, Day 5. Today we are learning how to shift from stating what you have to asking what others have. From declaration to dialogue. From the kitchen table to the door. Ka anyị bido? Let's start together. Today's proverb is this. Nwaanyị mụta ite ofe mmiri mmiri. Di ya amụta ipe ụtara aka wee suru ofe. Nwaanyị mụta ite ofe mmiri mmiri. Di ya amụta ipe ụtara aka were suru ofe. If a woman makes watery soup, her husband learns to dent his fufu before dipping. Igbo hospitality does not collapse because the soup is thin. It adapts. The guest eats. The bond holds. Today's sentences live inside that principle because the moment you ask, is there food? Everything that follows is an act of welcome. By the end of today, you will be able to ask whether food is present. You will be able to ask whether someone has soup. And you will know how to say yes and name exactly which soup is in the pot. 3 sentences, 1 act of hospitality, completed in Igbo. Chiedozie Okeke is 53 years old. Born in Achi, Oji River. 21 years in Singapore. He works in logistics. The kind of man who can track a container ship across 4 time zones without raising his voice. The spices in his kitchen are labeled in Igbo and English both, because he decided this was important and has never questioned the decision. His kitchen, however, is currently beyond his control. His cousin Obior has just sent a message. I dey outside. Not, are you free? Not, is now a good time? Just, I dey outside. Which in their family means the door is already being knocked. Chiedozie looks at the pot. Ofoha, made this morning before work because Tuesday is the day he cooks. Properly cooks. The way his mother taught him in Achi. And he has been looking forward to this pot of soup since approximately 11 a.m. It is enough for one man. One generous man. Not 2. He opens the door. Obiora enters with his bag, his smile, and the specific hunger of a man who has been on a connecting flight for 9 hours and has eaten nothing but airline crackers. Chiedozie looks at his cousin. He looks at the pot. And then he does something that is not in any cookbook. He takes the pot off the flame, adds a small measure of water, drops in a fist of ground crayfish, and puts it back on. Low heat. Lid on. 8 minutes. He does not announce this. He asks Obiora about his journey. Pours palm wine and waits. When the soup is ready, it is not the same soup. It is thinner, yes. The crayfish has deepened the color, lifted the aroma, and Chiedozie will tell you this with a straight face. Ofoha. Obiora sits down. He smells the kitchen. He says, Nriodi, is there food? Chiedozie does not blink. Yes. Obiora, very carefully, very gently. Nwere ofe, do you have soup? Chiedozie says, enwere m ofe ọha. Yes, I have ọha soup. Which is, in every way that matters, the absolute truth. This is Igbo hospitality. The soup is always available. The pot just sometimes needs a moment to become what it needs to be. Scholars spark. That exchange between Chiedozie and Obiora, Nriodi, Nwere ofe, is not small talk. It is a ritual. In their 2024 paper, Appraisal of Orji as the Epicenter of Hospitality in Igbo Cosmology, published in Sophia, an African Journal of Philosophy and Public Affairs, scholars Macaulay A. Kanu and Anacletus Obunkwu document how the formal offer and acceptance of food, including the kola nut ceremony, creates what they describe as a space of physical, psychological, and spiritual safety for both host and guest. Before food is accepted, they argue, a guest has not truly arrived. The environment is not yet safe for meaningful exchange. But Kanu and Obunkwu go further than that. And this is the part that should stop you. They note that the ritual blessing of the kola nut must be conducted in Igbo. Not because tradition demands it, not out of habit or formality, but because the ancestors who receive the offering do not understand or hear any other language. And that is why sometimes you hear Oji anaghị anụ Oyibo. Not English, not Pidgin, not even the most eloquent, heartfelt prayer you have ever constructed in your second tongue. Let's put this into words, the 3 sentences. Number 1, Nriodi. Is there food? Repeat after me. Nriodi. Nriodi. Number 2, Nwere ofe. Do you have soup? Repeat after me. Nwere ofe. Nwere ofe. Number 3, enwere m ofe ọha. Yes, I have ọha soup. Repeat after me. Enwere m ofe ọha. Enwere m ofe ọha. 3 sentences. One man who added water and crayfish and said nothing about it. One man who arrived hungry and was fed. That is the whole of Igbo hospitality in 30 words. Godi Manu Logita, may it be well in your home today. Remember to download the workbook for this week at learnigbownow.com. Abụ m nwanne gị nwaanyị Yvonne Mbanefo. I am your sister Yvonne Mbanefo. Keep learning, keep speaking, and remember, progress beats perfection.